With General Sessions Court, and Judge, if you could introduce yourself and your colleagues, and then tell us how your year's been and talk about your budget proposals.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning to you and gentlemen. To my right is Judge Casey Moreland. He'll talk about a special criminal collection docket that has been implemented this year. To my left is Warner Hassel, our court administrator. I am Judge Diane Turner, presiding judge currently of the General Sessions Court. And I will tell you, as you know, business is always good in the General Sessions Court. We have a lot of traffic. But we have been able to do the following things after undergoing budget reductions over the past few years. We've completed a total of civil, criminal, and traffic caseload in the amount of 453,004 cases last year. That was 842,000 of civil cases. And then in our public safety role, we have criminal case events of 217,775. That includes custodial arrests and the citations. And the metro and state traffic matters in the amount of 128,387 cases. We had in 2011 a criminal case clearance rate of 100.8%. That's an improvement of 3 percentage points over 2010. We have 30,000 people enrolled in the traffic school. That's the online school as well as the live classes. And 4,800 active probation cases in 2011. We want to thank you for your support of our budget for the current year that allowed us to increase our in-courtroom security in a cooperative agreement with the sheriff. That has definitely improved the safety of our courtrooms, we believe. In 2010 and 2011, our total revenue collections from all sources were $3 million plus, which is a third of that includes probation supervision fees, which through more enhanced enforcement, we've been able to improve our collection to over 30% in the past 2 years. Now, we have had a successful implementation of the special criminal collection docket. Judge Moreland has administered that, and he can talk to you about that.
That's a docket we started July of last year, where we have a concentrated effort on collecting unpaid court costs for those that are not only their cases concluded, but concentrated effort on those that their cases are still pending while on probation. And along with the clerk's office, we're at about $1.7 million on collecting court costs that they've turned out or were collecting as a result of the probation collection docket. And also our collection docket emphasizes the payment of probation fees, and I think our probation fee number is going to be in excess of $1 million, which when the clerk was collecting it and it just went into a bucket like all the other taxes and costs and fees, we're well over 50% of, or we're well over double that. I think we were around $500,000 when they were collecting it, and we're going to be over $1 million this year. So with what we're doing with our probation fees and the collection of court costs, we're going to be well over the $2 million target that we set last year.
Okay. Warner can address our budgetary issues.
Yes, the 2% budget reduction target was $192,300. If we took the full reduction, it would impact our traffic school significantly because the rest of our court is part of the core functions of the court. The result of this cut on the traffic school would impact the online school principally with a revenue loss of about $1.5 million. Also, our budget improvements, that significant ones that we would like to submit to you and are before you today, are $45,000 for telecommunications and printer copier costs. When we moved into the Birch Building in '06, our telecommunication needs were greater than what we had before, just due to the layout of the building. We did not receive additional funding for that, and we've reduced our telecommunication budget 38% in the last 5 years, but we still have some unmet needs.
Is this a 4% request more than?
It's more operational of actual, because we've reduced a lot of lines over a period of time, phone lines.
But these are, but in terms of, you're asking for equipment, not for personnel or anything else, so it's something that would classically be a 4% request.
As I understand it, yeah.
Well, it's not really,
What are you asking?
on the printer copier side it would be, but on the telecommunication side, it's more to help fund our monthly telecommunication budget. The phone lines.
Pay your phone bill.
Yeah,
essentially.
right. So we've had to reduce other areas to help fund that cost, the obligation, and so
So the bulk of the 45,000 is for the phone expenses you get and get billed for, and then the printer copier is whatever a printer copier costs these days.
Right, and so when we moved into the Birch Building, we had copiers in every courtroom, which we didn't have before, but it's really worked out well. But we had to eat that cost, which is about $53,000 a year. And we only had about $8,000 budgeted for that when we moved into the Birch Building. And so we've shifted funds around to try to help meet the cost. We were hoping that the new printer copier contract would assist us, but there's been some issues with that. So meanwhile, we're still stuck with the existing needs and just don't have the full funding for that.
Okay, is that all?
Also, there's one other item. The traffic school, we run a driver's license reinstatement class, and for all offenders that qualify, and we have a heavy Hispanic referral rate, and so we're dealing with close to 400 Hispanic referrals a month. And so we did have 2 bilingual staff people with the traffic school, and one of them left for a better professional opportunity here recently. So we're stuck with one person that has to teach at night and work during the day, and so you can only stretch one person so far. So we're asking for additional funding for a bilingual office support specialist that can assist during the daytime hours and assist some in the courtroom too, with interpretation of signing people up for the traffic school.
What happened to the funds for the position of the person who left?
The person that left is strictly dealing with things in the courtroom. She was not able to teach at night and work during the day. So we have, due to the increased caseload, we have one person that's totally dedicated to nighttime classes and some daytime classes. And so the other person is, and the only person we have left is going back and forth teaching at night and handling customers during the day.
I'm sure I understand. So there were 2 positions to perform this function.
Right.
You now have one person performing this function.
Right.
All right. One person left. Why don't you just take the funds that existed from the person leaving for another job to fill the need instead of creating another position?
Well, it's due to the increased caseload. We've got more people that
What
are
happened
coming.
to the funds that were being used to pay that person?
Well, we are using it to fund the classes at night. With the increased caseload,
What are the numbers on the caseload increase?
We're averaging about 400 a month. It was somewhere around 200 a month, 250.
Can you give us the breakdown for the years on those numbers and what it's been for the last 5 years and
How it's grown or
and
changed.
the information on the position that got vacated? I mean, what's become of that?
Yeah.
What's become of that position?
Well, that position is going to eventually be filled when we get a qualified person in there. But we're still short. We're still short. When you have one person that's working during the day and that person's gone, then you have nobody to help during the day because we have the other person that's 100% teacher at night.
But this is a new improvement you've asked for? Because that's not included in anything that I see in what you've submitted previously.
The 33,724.
We're asking third
Right.
position.
Yeah.
I don't think that's,
don't see
we're not
it.
being clear. We're asking for a third position.
We're just asking for one new position.
Right. But in your remarks about it, you were kind of justifying it by having the position lost that has not been filled yet, and
Yeah.
it would seem to me the way to solve it is you fill the position.
Right, well, we're filling that position, but due to the increased caseload, we just have one person working during the day.
Position.
We need another position to handle it during the daytime, because the other person we have is working totally at night. And that person can't work double shifts, the one at night.
Okay.
And I just need to repeat that I don't see that in here.
You don't see that?
I don't know where that's a new one to me. I don't know where that's,
Okay, I thought we submitted that.
is this the funding for the person returning from disability? Is that anything to do with it?
Yes. We changed that because that person did come back from disability, and then we changed that to a bilingual customer support specialist.
So, let me get this straight. There was a person who was out on disability, and then did you fill the position when the person was on disability?
Yes.
We did fill it
So you
from-
filled that position, and then, I guess, then the person wants to return from disability, which I guess, under Metro procedures, they would be able to return, and you've got a person in that person's position already,
Right,
which creates a need for another position.
right, because we didn't have the money. We'd
I don't know
already,
if it creates the need, but it creates the fact that they need another
The position.
position to fill that position in.
I get it. Any other improvements?
no, sir. Except the one thing is the judge's annual salary adjustment, pursuant to the Metro Charter, the sessions judges make the same as the circuit judges, so there was a 3.2% increase at the,
Basically $68,000?
yes, sir.
Judges' salaries. All right. In terms of some of the goals you've had in the past, how is the treatment court going? I think we talked about that last year. Do you have any sense in terms of recidivism figures or?
For our treatment court?
Yeah.
We, and it should be in the state's report, because the state now compiles all that, not for us, we have to do it ourselves as well, but our recidivism is below 20% on our graduates for 5 years after they've graduated, which is below the national average for drug courts. Our last graduating class would have had about $250,000 of incarceration costs that the county would have incurred if not for drug court. And most all the expenses of drug court, except for, I don't know what it is this year, about $80,000 or $60,000, something like that goes to drug court on our line budget.
Yes.
That most of our expenses are covered by the dedicated funds that are paid by criminal defendants that are convicted of crimes here in the county.
If you could give me the recidivism information you have, I'd be curious to see that.
Absolutely.
And then, I think last year it was estimated that you'd have somewhere around 65 misdemeanor psychiatric evaluations. You know what the number is so far this year?
What we've done is, so far this year, we've been shifting those to the mental health court to handle, because we've been in the negotiations with the state of Tennessee on some outstanding invoices that occurred right around the border time of when the law changed. And so Metro Legal, Ms. Jones and myself are going to be meeting with the mental health department within the next week or two. We're trying to come up with a settlement for some of those outstanding invoices. So we haven't been handling many of those this fiscal year because we had not negotiated a settlement with the state yet. But once that settlement takes place, we will need those funds. But we've been trying to shift those to the mental health court until we could work things out with the state of Tennessee.
Right. But these evaluations are being done to determine competency to stand trial and whether there's an insanity defense.
Right.
And the mental health
But
court,
no outpatient treatment whatsoever.
no treatment, but it's
Right.
an evaluation that costs somewhere between $500 and $600.
Yes, sir.
Right. And then when it goes to the mental health court, this is General Sessions Mental Health Court.
Yes.
I mean, the expense is still there for the court, for the General Sessions Court as a whole.
Right.
And
Right.
do we have a ballpark figure as to how many mental health, competency, insanity evaluations we're doing this year?
I would have to see I'd check with Judge Eisenstein to see how many referrals.
Because I
have
get
been.
some of these bills, I give them to you. I see them.
And then they come to us.
Right, and it's an area of interest to me. I just don't know how much this is growing and how much it's ultimately costing us.
I would only be guessing, Mr. Mayor, but the number that I have signed has decreased drastically. I mean, and I'm just 1/11th of it, but we don't see near as many requests anymore that we used to.
Okay. And then, in terms of the traffic school, we're going to meet the revenue targets in traffic school?
Provided that, we don't take from the police department standpoint, when it comes to issuance of moving violations, it has a direct correlation to the enrollment of the school, so.
Well, it's going down, no
Yeah.
question about that.
Yeah.
But is my information correct that for fiscal year 10, traffic school revenue was dramatically less than budgeted, and then last year it was less than budgeted?
And then we had a rate increase this year.
So,
That
but you
helped.
think it's going to be what you budgeted for? I mean, is that going to be a problem?
For this fiscal year, we will meet the budget. We will meet the revenue budget for this fiscal year.
Right, and then are you budgeting for next year? I mean, it's clear from even these hearings, that the number of traffic citations are going down.
Right.
And Mr. Rooker's budget revenue projections reflect that. Okay.
Ask a couple
Sure.
questions while you're on traffic school. Thankfully, I'm no expert in traffic school. But I'm trying to understand traffic school as it relates to the budget submissions that we've got here. Am I reading this right, that the proposed reduction is $146,000 that you cut $146,000 from the traffic school, and that would result in almost $1.6 million in reduced revenue?
Right, and
Explain that.
yes, a traffic school, a person that attends the online traffic school, they have to purchase a PIN number.
Okay.
Metro purchases it for $10. Then we turn around and charge them $85 for the privilege of going to the traffic school. So each personal ID number costs $10. And so
So this does away with traffic school?
it does away with
understand it.
online
What
school.
we are, we're sort of like a franchise with the National Safety Board, who puts the online school together.
Uh-huh.
And we have to buy the PIN codes to be able to give our defendants access to the website.
But those defendants ultimately pay for those PIN codes,
They
right?
pay 85.
They pay 85.
10 goes, but that $10 to pay for the PIN code is a line item budget for us, and if we can't buy them, we can't sell them.
Because we're budgeted for the pins in our operational budget, and when we charge the $85, it goes into the revenue side of the ledger. So,
So why would you choose that as your proposed 2% cut? That's the real question.
It's not, yeah, right.
it's not,
That's about the only non-judicial function that we have. I mean,
otherwise you get into issues of, okay, in probation, you cut probation officers, then you have, if you have fewer probation officers to handle cases that the judges have put defendants on probation, then already their caseloads are about 200 to 250 each, not all supervised, but, you know,
I guess what I'm having a hard time with in my mind is it's something that a defendant pays. It's not something that we spend on an employee or a copier or a telephone
oh,
line.
absolutely.
And so I'm having a hard time understanding,
Well, the first $10 we pay.
right, but there's 85 in revenue coming back on it.
Right. But if they
So
don't-
it's not a very smart thing to cut out. I mean, but we don't have anywhere else to cut. I mean, we've been cut right at 15% from a fairly lean budget to begin with over the last 4 years. I mean, we don't have anything else.
Do we do traffic school another way other than online?
We have an in-person,
We have live
but that
classes.
costs us more to put that on.
Right, that makes sense.
Right.
I mean, that's a good cost-efficient way, because back when Judge Moore was presiding judge, like in '05 or '06, I think is when the online school came on board, and our personnel cost at the traffic school was much higher before we had the online school.
So what's the math on the traffic school piece not related to online? Does it cost us money? Do we break even? Is the revenue expense?
Well, we have a labor-intensive program
Right.
that brings revenue in too. It's called the driver's license reinstatement
As
class.
I said, thankfully, I don't know much about
Yeah.
it, so sorry to ask these questions.
But that's dealing with, you know, a roadmap for an offender that has problems getting their driver's license reinstated. It kind of guides them through the process of how to handle the outstanding fines and court costs on the metro side and on the state side, and how you go through the state of Tennessee Safety Department and meeting their guidelines to get your driver's license reinstated. It's a very cumbersome process. That is like where a lot of our, because that's coming off the 1A docket. Y'all are sending people from the 1A
But
docket.
I think to answer your question, I think our traffic school is revenue generating, considering our operating budget for the school.
Okay.
That is a correct statement.
Yes.
I think that's what you were asking.
Most definitely.
Okay.
People have a choice between the online and the in-person school?
They do, depending on which class they have to
Have to
take.
take, yeah. The basic
Right.
class, you get,
You got a
you
choice.
get, you got a choice.
And everybody loves doing that
But an
online.
8-hour class, if you're a frequent flyer, so
Right, I
to
understand,
speak.
yeah.
But you have to have an
basic-
8-hour.
I mean, so the basic one, most people would do online.
Correct,
You
correct.
Do that online, okay. But you do repeat, I mean, you could come in person to do it.
Yes.
That is that available.
Very few do, though, for
I
that.
mean, should we require them to do that online? Have you ever thought about that? I guess not everybody can do that.
Not everybody has a
Yeah, not everybody has a
computer.
computer, yeah, okay, never mind.
We can arrange for you to take it if you want to and see what you think.
I'm not sure. Like Mr. Hynat, unfortunately, have not had to venture into the
Well,
service
I wish I could say the same thing. I had to take it.
Every day is a new day, so I should be careful. I shouldn't knock on wood.
Right, and then in terms of the collection docket, you think you're going to hit your estimate of $5 million?
This year?
From last year, for this year's budget?
My estimate for this year was 2 million, and yes, we will. I said that I thought that it could be as high as 5 million. Not this year, we couldn't make 5 million starting it all up in 1 year. But the 2 million was the target for this year, and we're going to exceed that. 5 million, it's because it's a collection type situation, you have residuals where we'll continue to collect funds next year that we had in court this year, so that amount should continue to grow.
And when the money's collected, it's not, I mean, it's not collected so that it goes into a pot that's labeled collection docket. It's coming in all different pots, and it's a little hard.
The only way we can identify it, Mayor, is what comes from the collection agency. Because all of those type of cases, we sort of have our fingers in it, because they have, they do a civil collection docket, and the same folks come to our probation collection docket. So if it comes from them, the criminal court clerk, the sheriff's department, and General Sessions had somewhat of a hand in getting that money back into the system. The only thing we can absolutely put our fingers on is our increase in our probation fees.
Right. Okay. All right. Rich, any more? Great. All right, I get it. I know you all work hard. And, you know, everybody but, you know, most all departments had 10 to 15% cuts, and we just got to do what we got to do to make sure we're serving the public, and that will be our marching orders. So, thank you.